Welcome, everybody, to another fun-filled night in the Truck Series. Playoff race number 4 is where I'm bringing you tonight to New Hampshire. These drivers will be competing for the final 4 spots to get into the playoff hunt next week for the championship. We've got about, I think, 14 drivers on track right now. Getting ready to end qualifying here in about 5 minutes. I'll bring up 1 or 2 drivers as quickly as I can to talk to them before we get into this playoff race. But let's look at the point standings for this week. Right now, the top 4 that are secured into the next round, which is the championship 4, is the 31 of Nick Gowan, who has 6 wins this season, is up 22 spots from that final transfer spot, but he is not here tonight, so that is going to be an empty spot for Nick Gowan. Can he make it to the next round with missing a race tonight? Jason Fenzer, with getting the win last week, has 5 total wins this season. I don't think that's accurate. I think he has 3. In the 5 truck, is up 20 spots or 20 points from the final spot. Jared Mogard in the 00 has 4 wins this season and is sitting with plus 9 over the final transfer spot. Jeff No in the 55 is your final transfer driver currently set. But we have 4 drivers who would like to get into this Final 4, or at least one of them, to try to get into the Final 4. Jamie Haynes sitting in 5th, James Ledford 6th, Austin Greer in 7th, and Stan Knathon, who is, I think, statistically knocked out of the playoffs with missing last week, and I do not see him on the track tonight, so that's going to end his playoff run. But 3 drivers competing for that final transfer spot. If Jared Mogard or Jason Fenzer has a terrible race, I think Jason Fenzer possibly is pretty much statistically locked in with being here tonight. Jared Mogard, he is only up plus 9, so he's going to have to stay in front of some of these other playoff drivers if he wants to move on to the next round, specifically Jamie Haynes and James Ledford, who are the closest to get to him. Jeff No is going to have to battle it out with Jamie, James, and Austin Greer, as they are close enough to pass him if they get a specific amount of points tonight. But that is our point standing as of right now for playoff race number 4 before we get going into the championship run next week. We'll bring up a driver or 2. Looking for a specific driver. Now we'll talk to Jamie Haynes if he is there. Jamie, you got a copy of this? Watts in the booth.
What's up, buddy?
What's going on, Jamie? We've got playoff race number 4 at New Hampshire this week. You are currently sitting 5th in the points, 2 back from the final transfer spot. How are you going to make it into that transfer spot tonight?
I'm just gonna wreck Jeff on like lap 3 and then be done with it.
Well, I'm going to talk to Jeff
uh,
next, so I'm going to give him a little fair warning there.
nah, I'm usually pretty good at New Hampshire. I like his track a lot. So I think I should be all right. I mean, if I can get up there and lead a lap, that'll help. But I think I'll be okay.
Well, statistically, I'm looking at the points, and it looks like Nick Gowan is absent tonight, but he has plus 22 points over that final transfer spot. So I'm figuring with the amount of people that are in the lobby right now, he would statistically be passing on to the championship four. Jason Fensler looks like he is close. He showed up tonight, so as long as I guess he finishes in the top 10, he would be moving on. Jared is the next one. So the three that are behind the line, you, yourself, James Ledford, and Austin Greer, all three could have a chance to knock out all three spots with Nick Gowan being there. It's a shot. So good luck on tonight's race. I've been pulling for you all season. I'd love to see you and Stout somehow get up here and maybe take out a couple of these guys who've been the perennial 1-2-3s all season.
Be fine by me, buddy. I assure you that.
All right. Well, I'll send you back down to your team. Get ready for this race and strap them in tight and get rolling through New Hampshire.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Yep. All right, we'll go down and find our good buddy Jeff No in the 55, see how he's feeling about tonight's playoff race. That could be his first playoff bid into AER.
Right.
Mr. Jeff No, you got a copy of this Swats in the booth.
Hey, what's up, Kurt?
What's going on, Stout? I talked to you last week. Seemed to be a good luck charm because you came into that race saying you weren't probably going to have a great night, and you wound up bringing home the top 5. So I figured I'd bring it up this week. You are currently sitting in the final transfer spot to go into the championship for next week with Nick Gowan not being here tonight. He statistically is moving on anyway, so there is 3 open spots to move into that final 4. What makes you think you will be that driver tonight at New Hampshire?
I don't get rattled. I show up and race in any circumstance. With whatever the deck stacked against me, and I feel like I can always perform. So I kind of lied to you. I knew I'd be good last week. I'm pretty good at short tracks.
Well, lie to me again. Come on.
We'll see, man. I feel decent here. Ultimately I just need to finish one spot behind Jamie to secure a spot, so that's what we're going to try to do here. Granted, we're going to try to get up there and win the race, but basically I'm racing Jamie, and that's the way I kind of see this.
So you're going to be paying attention to Jamie the whole race, paying attention to that 1 or 2 points that you'll need. Does that kind of take away from your focus on trying to get up to the front and get a win? Or you think it kind of maybe focuses you in on trying to be steady and aggressive all night to stay in front of Jamie?
For me, it'll help me stay steady and be aggressive. As far as with this low truck count, I imagine there's not going to be any cautions. So, kind of depending on how we run here, we'll probably be a little bit more aggressive with the way that I usually pit. I usually like to kind of just wait things out and pit at the very end, but I don't think I'm about to do that tonight.
Gotcha. Well, I told you last week to rip that shirt off and crack open a beer before we get rolling here, so make sure you do that again to give you a little good luck charm, and we'll see if we're talking to the end of the night at New Hampshire, or if you're going to be one of those Final Four moving on to the championship race next week. I'm always pulling for you, so good luck tonight.
Hey, thanks, Kurt.
All right, do you want me to send you back down to Aeons, or are you moving to the southern? Okay.
Move back to Aeons.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
All right, so that is 2 of our playoff drivers tonight. That is Mr. Jeff No and Jamie Haynes that we spoke to there. Both of them looking to get into that playoff bid to go to the championship for next week as we head off into Las Vegas to roll some dice there. So coming into the live scene now over in New Hampshire, we've got the starting lineup, and I will bring it up here as the grid comes up on the screen. We've got Jason Fensler as the pole sitter tonight. Mike Miller in the 15 will be rolling off second. Jared Mogart third. Michael Carter fourth. Jamie Haynes fifth. Tyler Belanger sixth. James Ledford seventh. Austin Greer eighth. Jeff No ninth. Adam Boughton 10th. Charles Mosley Jr. 11th. And Doug King 12th in tonight's 12 truck field. Getting everything set up here. If you guys have a driver you want to pay attention to, please let me know. Mr. Nick Gowan out there in the chat saying good luck to all the drivers tonight. Not sure if I'll make it in points, but it's been a good season. Nick, I think you have it in the bag based on what I'm counting up in points in my head. being plus 22 before moving on to tonight, not showing up, but only 12 in the field, I think that moves you on. As we come off of turn 4, pace cars down, and trucks are coming into the restart zone. 5 of Jason Fenzer, your pole sitter, on the gas. Down the front stretch we go with Mike Miller in the 15 on the outside. Jared Mogard trying to dive it low into turn 1. Jared Mogard underneath the 15 of Mike Miller side by side as they come off of turn 2, 2 by 2 for the first 2 rows. Five of Jason Fenzer leading the group through lap 1. Mike Miller holding steady in second. Jared Mogard third. Mike Carter in the 2, sitting 4th. Jamie Haynes 5th. James Ledford 6th. Tyler Belanger 7th. Austin Greer 8th. Jeff No 9th. And Charles Mosey Jr. rounding out the top 10 so far. 2 laps into the race, and Jason Fenzer is looking good out front after being our pole sitter for this race at New Hampshire. Playoff race number 4. 1 race to go in the season. The Championship 4 will be next week. Stay tuned for that race. Fenzer looking really good out front with Mike Miller trailing him. Mike Miller looking for another top 3 finish for the season. Can he get his second top 3 finish of the season in playoff race number 4? Jared Mogard and Jason Fenzer pretty much just need to show up tonight and run a few laps and try to stay in the top 15, which there's only 12 drivers, so if they finish in the top 10, they're automatically into the final 4. And we've already got 1 casualty for tonight. Austin Greer with trouble down pit road right now. Austin Greer in the 45 playoff driver has some heavy damage to the back end of his truck. That Micro Center computer and electronics paint scheme is definitely tore up. That is 2 bad playoff races in a row for Austin Greer. Last week, spun on turn 2, lap 1, and got stuck on the grass, came back out and finished the race 5 laps down. Made a good effort to it, showed a lot of heart coming back out on the track and running as many laps as possible, trying to get back on the lead lap, but it did not work for him. So tonight, needing a good race to get up into the top 4, and not a good start to his race. 5 laps into this race, he is 1 lap down. Jared Mogard working on the back bumper of Mike Miller. Can he make the pass for second as Jason Fenzer has started to pull out and away half a second in front of these 2. Fenzer with 4 wins on the season. Mogard with 5. Nick Gowan with 6. Mike Miller looking to grab another win if he can get one for himself before the season ends. New Hampshire seems to be a good track for him. He's been pretty good at the short tracks. New Hampshire is essentially a short track 1 mile long. Kind of drives a little bit to me like a in between of a Martinsville and Richmond, North Wilkesboro kind of shape and way you drive it. But Jason Fenzer very, very fast last week at Lucas Oil, and so far this week very fast again. Mike Carter back here in the 2. Good wrench service. Trying to hold up in the top 5 right now. Jamie Haynes up 1 spot right in front of him in that 53, looking to get into the playoffs. Championship 4 for next week's race. He is currently scored 4th. Jeff No, the other one battling for that final transfer spot, is sitting back here in 7th place right now. Up 2 spots from his starting position, chasing a teammate, James Ledford, who is also vying for that last transfer spot into the final 4 for next week's race at Vegas. 2 teammates facing off with Nick Gowan also, who's already into the championship race, I would assume here, based on points, but can't quote me on that one. I would say as long as Jamie, Jeff, James or Austin Greer does not win this race, I would think that Nick Gowan would be statistically into the next round championship 4 as we get there for next week's race. But So far, Jared Mogart getting by Mike Miller to put the 15 back to third place. Jared Mogart going to try to run down his other enemy of the season. The Three Musketeers have been winning every race this season between Nick Gowan, Jason Fenzer, and Jared Mogart. Jared slipping back from Nick Gowan's total of 6 wins, and he is sitting at 5. Jason is now up to 4. Going to look to tie Jared tonight if he can. But will somebody else sneak up here and be the Cinderella story for tonight's race? And I want to say, I think Mike Miller and Jamie Haynes have some really good chances tonight. Jamie telling us prior to the race that tonight was a really good track for him. He really likes this track. He felt like he was going to have a fast truck. Doesn't know if he would be able to get up here and compete with Jason or Jared or a couple others, but really felt like he had a fast truck for tonight. And he's so far proving it. He started in the top 5, sitting P4 right now. Mike Carter in 6th, and Jeff No now up to 6th. So as long as Jeff No finishes 1 spot behind Jamie Haynes, and Jamie Haynes does not lead a lap, then Jeff No would be taking over that final 4 spot. Austin Greer right there, not fighting for position with Jamie Haynes on, whoa, little bump there from Jamie as the 45 slipped up the track right in front of him, cut his nose off. Austin Greer 1 lap down as of right now after getting spun about lap 1 or 2 there, having some major damage to the back of that Micro Center truck. But coming back out, if he can get a caution, he can get back on the lead lap. He's the only driver scored 1 lap down right now. That would be a huge push for Austin Greer to try to get up here and collect some more points to get into that next round of playoffs. As I pull up the playoff standings one more time here so you guys can see what's going on. Austin Greer sitting -9 even after having a horrible week last week. Still has a shot here. So if he can get back on the lead lap with 12 drivers in the field, if he could get up here and finish in the top 3, he would have a really, really good chance of making it to the final 4, depending on how Jamie and Jeff finish out the race. But back to the action. Jason Fenzer in the FRE number 5 truck, currently out front by 1 second over Jared Mogart in the 00. Mike Miller has fallen off pace by about 1.5 seconds, sitting back in 3rd right now. Jamie Haynes sitting 4th, is about 4.5 seconds back from the leader. So top 4 are getting really spread out here. Looking at the overlook of New Hampshire, you can see this track is not very big. It's a Martinsville, Richmond, North Wilkesboro, Bristol size track, but very, very open around it. Not closed in like a Bristol Coliseum, not closed in like half of Martinsville and Richmond. Just a very cool track. I like it. Jason Fenzer diving down into turn 1 with Jared Mogart hot on his trails. Mike Miller, Austin Greer not in position. Jamie Haynes, Jeff No, James Ledford, we're all rolling through there. See Jason Fenzer hugging that middle line. Not down on the yellow, but not too high either. Right on the seam almost, which seems to be a lot where everybody else is running as well. You got to carry him speed, but you got to shorten the track up just a little bit because it is so wide in the corners. Austin Greer, for being 1 lap down, is actually the fastest truck on the track. So if Austin can somehow get on the lead lap here with a caution or something and not be involved in that caution as well, and get that lap back, we could see Austin work his way up into the top based on speed. He's about 1.5 tenths faster than the leader, Jason Fenzer. So he did not stop for fuel or tires, just came down, got a repair done, and came back out on the track with the same set of tires and fuel. But he is 1 lap down. So if he can get that lap back, I think Austin could be a contention for getting up in the top 5 and maybe clinching that final 4 spot. Mike Miller out of Tampa, Florida for his hometown. His daughters show up week in and week out. Really appreciate Mike Miller's family all season coming out and watching these races, watching their dad run. Was really cool to see him get a top 3 finally and come up into the booth. Just definitely really appreciate the family and friends of all these different drivers in this league showing up for their driver and rooting them on and listening to me all season too. Jamie Haynes out of Stewart, Virginia in that 53, sitting there with his son in his picture, definitely doing dad proud. Coming out, or doing his son proud, coming out and having a great season. Pretty much rode in the top 4 on the points all season long in the regular season. Has been a contender in multiple different races. Does not have a win this season, but he's been a very consistent driver without the wins, and to still sit there in 4th place pretty much from week 2 on throughout this entire season as an owner admin, with dealing with drivers, dealing with controversy, dealing with wrecks and points and just everything he's had to deal with the owner or the admins on his side, Charles Mosey Jr. And another driver there that have been helping out, just to do all of that and still finish 4th in the points in the regular season, and then to be on the verge of maybe moving on to the Final 4 championship race at Vegas next week. He is 2 points back from that final transfer spot, and right now the way it sits, he would be in because Jeff Noah is sitting in 6th, so it would be a close match. We'll see what happens here with Jamie Haynes and throughout the rest of this race. Now we've got the 2 of Mike Carter out of Jacksonville, Alabama. Mike Carter has had some pretty good races. Hasn't finished in the top 3 yet, but the race he's been here has been really, really good. Jeff Noe out of Yadkinville, North Carolina in that 55. Winn-Dixie paint scheme, throwback to Mark Martin. Jeff is currently sitting in the Final 4 transfer spot. Has been a perennial top 10 driver pretty much all season, but really has turned it on the last several weeks before the end of the regular season and during these playoffs, and has really pushed himself into that top 4 spot. Charles Mosey Jr. out of Mobile, Alabama in the 89 Lucas Oil Machine. Charles has had some really good races, usually really, really good at super speedways as well. Has had some contention for those races, but did not make it out of the first round of the playoffs this season. James Ledford in the 8, the old Ghost kind of Valvoline paint scheme. I really like that paint scheme, but James still competing for the playoff championship 4. If he can make it through this race and somehow find an extra 10 points somewhere, he will make it into the Final 4 if Jeff Noe and Jamie Haynes have some really bad have a bad race tonight. He would make it in. Doug King, no information out of Doug King, but the 16 truck has been very fast the last couple weeks, has looked really good in that Napa Auto Machine. Adam Botton in the 19 out of Susquehanna, Pennsylvania, right around my hometown, running with the 213 Simware.com paint scheme. Adam is leading the league in best overall cleanest races. So he has the best cleanest races average of any of the drivers, which is a surprise this season, that he will win if he can clinch this thing off this week and next week. Tyler Belanger, up and out of Claremont, New Hampshire, said he was getting ready for tonight's race, and I'm seeing the Boston Celtics. I'm a huge Boston Celtics fan myself, so didn't know Tyler and I had that in common, but a lot of damage to this 88 Boston Celtics machine with all the championships on the back of the truck. Love the paint scheme. Don't like the damage to it, but I'm sure Tyler does not as well. Tyler saying he was smelling like fish because he was out fishing all day today and decided to jump into the seat and give tonight a whirl. Back in 12th is Austin Greer, and don't have any information on Austin, but Austin has been a perennial top 6 driver pretty much all season, finished in the top 3 back at Watkins Glen and another race. Very, very good race for the Micro Center 45 Austin Greer tonight. He's 1 lap down, needing that lap back if he can get a caution here. Back up front, though, in the 5 for the FRE machine, he is currently out front by over 3.5 seconds. Jason Fenzer has led all 27 laps of this race so far out of the 110 we've got tonight. So about a 5th completed. And he is out of Elk Grove, California with David Racing Products and Fat Mike's Pizza on the side of his truck. But while these guys are running around here 28 laps into the race, I'm going to take a quick break and come on back. We won't miss any of the action. It'll be side by side. I need a drink really bad, so I'll be right back. We're back here for American Elite Racing, playoff race number 4, New Hampshire. We are 37 laps into the run. Green flag stops are underway. Jared Mogard already down pit road. Leader Jason Fenzer has not come down pit road yet. He is still out there on 37 lap old tires, still leading this race. Jamie Haynes now sitting second. Mike Miller third, under attack from the two of Mike Carter. Jeff Noe sitting in fifth now. Jared Mogard, the only driver in the top 5 that has taken a pit stop. Also news, Adam Boughton out of the race, sitting 3 laps down as of right now. That moves Austin Greer up into 11th. If you got a driver out there that you're rooting for, please let me know in the chat, and I will try to pull them up on screen if they are available tonight. 39 laps into New Hampshire playoff race number 4. 4 drivers fighting to get to the Final Four championship race. Jason Fenzer, your current leader, has been leading every lap of the race from the drop of the green flag from pole sitting spot. 39 laps into the race. Jamie Haynes looking to gather up a couple points to beat out Jeff No for the Final Four transfer spot. Jared Mogard only sitting +9 over the other playoff drivers. So the way that it sits right this second, if the race was to end right now, Jamie Haynes would need to lead a lap to tie Jared Mogard. Jamie Haynes down pit road though. Semi-early stop for the 53 compared to everybody else. But Jason Fenzer is still out here running laps. Will he go to the 50 mark? I don't know how far they can drive. I don't think they can make it to 60. But if he could make it to 55 or 60, that would definitely put it on a one-stop race. I don't know if they can make it that far, but Jason seems to be trying for it as he's now run 41 laps under green. Not sure, Chicken. I'm not sure why only 2 people are watching tonight's race, but that must be only on YouTube, as it says I have 14 between Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and the iRock TV channel on Roku, so I'm not sure exactly. But yeah, only 2 people watching from YouTube. With Jamie Haynes going down pit road, that is going to free up Michael Carter into the 2nd position. Jeff No now moving up into 3rd spot. Charles Mosley Jr. into 4th. Mike Miller down pit road, 1 lap down, sitting in 6th right now. Doug King 7th. Jared Mogard in 8th. Tyler Belanger 9th. Jamie Haynes 10th. Austin Greer 11th. And Adam Boughton out of the race, sitting in 12th. I see Nick out there saying, still here. Nick, we appreciate you watching tonight. I just saw your message earlier in the Discord saying you weren't going to be able to make it tonight, and I was kind of concerned. But once I saw only 12 people showed up, like I said, statistically in my head, mathematically, it looks like you are in to the next round of the playoffs. But congratulations on that. Wish you were here tonight. But Jason Fenzer is on a roll, 2 races in a row. Last week, winning at Lucas Oil. Now tonight leading all 44 laps of this race and still out on track, has not come down pit road, along with Mike Carter, Jeff No, and Charles Mosley Jr. and James Ledford all have not made their pit stops. Jared Mogard 8 laps into his next run, and he is about 7/10 faster than Jason Fenzer, your leader. So the fresh tires are definitely helping out for the 0-0 of Jared Mogard, but I don't know what the pit strategy calls are for tonight for the fuel mileage. So this could be a really good run here for Jason Fenzer. 45 laps into the run. If he can make it another 5 to 10 laps, he could technically one-stop this race. I don't know how long the fuel is, so we'll see. I do get a provisional for tonight, which is 10 points. So, yep, you're automatically in then. Statistically, mathematically, and in our hearts. Just kidding, Nick. Glad you were able to show up in the chat, but you're definitely moving on then if you get the provisional. So Jason Fenzer looking to tie Jared Mogard with 5 wins this season. Our current wins leader is Nick Gown, who I'm talking to in the chat. It says, A. Miller, how do you ever catch up with if you are a lap down? Well, that's an odd one. So right now, Mike Miller, your dad, is 1 lap down. However, that is because the leader has not gone down pit road. Once the leader goes down pit road, your dad, Mike, will be able to unlap himself. Austin Greer is 1 lap down prior to taking his fuel stop. So he will need a caution because he will not unlap himself enough to stay on the lead lap before the leader comes back around and laps him again, because he wrecked within the first 5 laps of the race and had to pit to get a redo on his truck. And he went 1 lap doing that. So when he finally does hit pit road, he is probably going to go a 2nd lap down. He is out there right now hoping and praying for a caution to come out so that he can stay where he's at. But Jason Fenzer out there running his 48th lap of the race and has not hit pit road. So that has got a lot of guys trapped right now, 1 lap down. But like I said, as soon as Jason does come down, and the problem too is that he's giving up so much time to the guys on new tires that they may come around and unlap themselves anyways, as Jared Mogard has already done. And once Jason does pit, Jared would then assume the lead of the race. But Jared's going to have to pit again before the end of the race. Hope that helps. Yeah, right now your dad is in actually a decent position. He's 1 lap down, but that's because he's already hit pit road. So once Jason does come down pit road, he'll unlap himself and probably move right back into the top 3 or top 5 where he was at before he took his pit stop. So he's actually having a very, very good run tonight, hoping that he can make the final 3 so we can talk to him at the end of the night like he did a couple weeks ago, getting his first top 3 finish of the season. We'll see if he can get his 2nd top 3 finish tonight. As I said about the 00 of Jared Mogard, he has unlapped himself, and he is about a quarter of a lap out in front of the 5 truck, but waiting for that 5 truck to finally go down pit road. He has not hit pit road still, 51 laps into this race. And as I said, if he can make it to the 55 mark, he will one-stop this race, which is very surprising that nobody else thought about this. I just don't know if he can make it to the 55 mark to be able to pit. Mike Carter deciding to come down pit road finally 51 laps into the race, giving up the 3rd position in the race right now. Charles Boza Jr. now going to move into 3rd. Jared Mogard moving to 4th. We're going to get back to our leader and watch to see when he decides to come down pit road finally for his pit stop. His tires have to be screaming. His fuel mileage has to be close to empty. There's no way he makes it to 55 or 60, I would think. But these guys are very good at conserving fuel, saving fuel. He's been out front. He's been leading a lot of laps, so he doesn't have to really push his truck. He could really, throttle it in different spots to conserve, let it roll through the corner a little further. He's been way out front. He's about 18 seconds out in front of the field over 2nd place, who has not pitted yet, and that is Jeff No sitting in 2nd, and Jason is 18 seconds. A lap time around this track is 32 seconds, so about half of a track in front of Jeff No right now as the leader. Really want to appreciate the 8 viewers out there tonight and the chat members as of so far. Really appreciate you guys showing up week in and week out. Jason Fenzer finally coming down pit road, though. The 5 truck getting under speed and going down pit road for that final pit stop, or what may be his final pit stop, 53 laps into the race. He'll go across finish line for lap 54 to start when he comes back out of pit road. That would put him within 1 or 2 laps of making it to the end without stopping. And, I mean, as big as a lead as he had, he could probably short pit the next round and still be in the lead. Jeff No sitting in 2nd right now. And I believe Jeff is going to take over the top spot, but he is going to have to pit here shortly. Jeff No finally coming down pit road, 54 laps into the race. Will cross over the line for lap 55. There's 110 laps tonight, so he has a chance to make it to the end on this one pit stop if he can be very smooth and baby this thing a little bit with conserving fuel. Jared Mogard is going to take over the lead, though, once Jeff came down pit road. James Ledford going to move into 2nd. Jamie Haynes 3rd. Jason Fenzer only dropped to 4th. With the biggest lead as he had, he only dropped to 4th. Mike Miller now back into the top 5. Tyler Belanger in 6th. Doug King 7th. Austin Greer in 8th as of right now on the lead lap. So Austin needs a caution immediately to keep him from going a lap down. Mike Carter is going to be scored 9th. Jeff No going to be scored 10th as he comes out of pits right there in front of the leader. You see the distance there with Jeff No and Jared Mogard. Jeff should be able to unlap himself, putting himself back in the lead lap. Jared, if he could make it to about the 90 mark and be able to short pit, he will be okay. Jeff is probably the closest one to making it on one stop tonight. I don't think he needs the challenge as hard as he is right now because everybody else is going to have to pit one more time, and if he could conserve, should be able to make it to the end. Jamie Haynes back here in second, chasing Jared Mogard. He is right now about 5 seconds back from Jared Mogard from taking the lead, but Jamie, we're having a good run. Jeff, that's who he's battling as a 53. He told us in the pre-race is that he was going to be paying attention to what Jamie was doing tonight to try to keep him behind him in the points. Jamie is only 2 points back from Jeff's Final Four transfer spot, so Jeff needs to finish one position behind Jamie without Jamie leading a lap tonight, and he will transfer. If Jamie finishes 2 spots in front of Jeff, Jamie will transfer. And there comes Fensler, our leader, before we had those green flag stops when he finally took it. He has scored 3rd right now and chasing down Jamie and Jared. Jason is scored 6 seconds back from Jamie and Jared, but has a pretty good chance to run him down as he's got the freshest tires of anybody by about 15 laps. Mike Miller in that 15 Toyota TRD is sitting in the top 5 right now, sitting 4th right now. Been pretty much in the top 5 all night outside of when he took his pit stop and went a lap down. But once the leader finally came down pit road, he unlapped himself and he's back to the top 5. Has a chance for another top 3 finish tonight. We'll see if he can make it to the end and be in those top 3 spots. A playoff driver this season too, so Mike having a very good run. Got knocked out of the first round, did not transfer over into the second round, but had a very good season. Charles Mosley Jr. out there in the 89 Lucas Oil paint scheme, made it into the first round of the playoffs and was knocked out so right after that. But Charles had a very good season, pointed his way into a playoff run, and unfortunately did not make it out of the first round, but right now, tonight, surviving back here in 7th in this 89 machine. Jamie Haynes still rocking in second, but you can see the red number 5 is closing in on the 53 to take over second place. Jason coming really hard right now by about a second and a half from back from Jamie to get within about 2/10 of Jamie. Jason on those fresh tires, you can see how much they mean to him as he comes off of the corner there. Jamie on the outside. Jason having the preferred line down to the bottom, going to dive it down into the corner, slide up in front of the 53 to take over that second spot and set his sights on the 00 of Jared Mogard, who's about right now 3.5 seconds out in front of Jason. And as we're sitting here tonight watching iRacing for American Elite Racing, just want to give my heartfelt just prayers to the people of Frisco with the shooting that happened. So just want to give my heartfelt prayers and to the family, and just, worried about how this world is, but definitely want to give some prayers and shout outs to the people in Frisco for dealing with everything they're dealing with today. Definitely don't want that on anybody, and can't imagine what they're going through. So definitely prayers and just hearts go out to them. Jared out here on 30-lap run right now. We are 46 laps to go at New Hampshire, playoff race number 4. This is the final race to decide the final 4 for next race. Will be at Las Vegas. Jared Mogard looking to be one of those final 4 to transfer in. Same with Jason Fenzer, who has now passed Jamie Haynes and taken over second spot and set his sights onto Jared. Closed in the gap now by 3 seconds and is only back by a half second over Jared. Jason coming on very, very strong as Jared is side by side with the 89 of Charles Moser Jr. Jared getting a little loose coming off the corner. Almost thought about coming down and blocking the 5, but the 5 having amazing momentum off the corner. Takes the lead back from the 00, and now we have a leader again who led the first 57 laps of the race. Or 54 laps of the race, sorry. Jason going to try to set sail and get away from Jared and pull away from the rest of the field as much as possible. I don't know where the fuel strategies are for the 5 and the 00. The 00 decided to come down and pit early about 15 laps before the 5 did. So that would, to me, say that the 00 has to pit one more time. The 5 pit with 54 laps into the race. He needed about 55 after that, and I don't know if he'll make it, especially as hard as he is driving. But so far, it looks like he might be able to at least get to close to the end and short pit and just throw in a little bit of fuel and get back out there. He had about an 18.5, 19-second lead before he pit last time. So if he can get that back up there, I think he'll be okay. We are 70 laps into the 110, 40 laps to go as Jason Fenzer's coming off of turn 4 will cross the line with 40 to go now. He has led a majority of these laps tonight. He has been the fastest truck on the track by far, our pole sitter tonight. And right now he is on the top of the leaderboard for fastest lap of the race and of that lap, running a 31.385. Jared Mogard sitting back in second with about 18 lap older tires. Ran a 31.847, so you can see the difference on the new to old tires. Jamie Haynes, who pit about 4 laps after Jared Mogard did, and Jamie just ran a 31.847. So only about 0.3 faster than Jared, but about half a second slower than Jason Fenzer. And Jamie is closing in on the gap of Jared Mogard. Can Jamie get to second place? Jeff No needing a rebound right now. He is in 6th. Too many positions behind Jamie Haynes. He needs to get past Michael Carter and Mike Miller to get close. Jared Mogard going to swing down low and go down pit road with 38 laps to go. This will be the final stop for Jared. Can he come back around and get to the top 3? We'll see after he makes his pit stop. But all right, let's do this one more time. Side-by-side action. We'll come back with 38 laps to go, so about 30 to go. We'll come back, and you guys won't miss any of the action. We'll stay on it. If an accident comes out or a caution comes out, we'll come back in. But just before I do that, I noticed that the 5 truck of Jason Fenzer has come down pit road for a short pit. So that relinquishes the lead to Jamie Haynes. Can Jason get back out on the track before Jared comes back around? These pit strategies got me thrown all over the place, but we'll come back and see what happens here with these pit stops. We'll be right back. Coming back from that break, it looks like we've got a caution out on track, and this is going to help Jeff Noe completely as he was in second spot. But probably going to have to come down pit road at some point here. Mike Carter was the leader as well. Jason Fenzer had gotten back to third. Jason Fenzer third. Jared Mogard to fourth, and Jamie Haynes fifth. We'll look at the pit stops here and see what happened. Looks like most of the drivers are going to come down pit road here. Austin Greer going to luck out and get a lap back and be the lucky dog. So going to be good for Austin Greer to try to get back into the battle to try to gain some points. I'll go back and see what happened there with the caution. Not sure what's going on there, but we'll pull up the driver and see what happened. Jamie, what's going on? It's Swats in the booth.
What's up, buddy?
What's up, bud? You've been pretty much running the top 5 all night. Led, I think, a lap there. But we've got less than 30 to go when you guys go back green. Jeff Noe is who you're battling, essentially, to get into that Final Four transfer spot. That caution really helped him out with him being in front of you and you guys all coming down pit road. What are you going to have to do here to get to that final spot and get to Jeff?
Oh, I'm going to have to let the rough side drag there, man. Funny thing is, though, I think Finsler realized that his strategy wasn't going to work. That's why he short pitted like he did. It was going to be a top 3 between me and him and Mogard, and then this caution came out and that reset everything. So it all depends on how we get going, and if it's one caution and then we run, or is it a caution and 3 laps there's another caution. So
Well, do we know what brought out that caution?
When I came off of 2, the 45 was down in the grass off of 2. I don't know if he solo spun or what exactly.
Gotcha.
So I guess whenever he hit back onto the asphalt, that it just assumed he was sitting there and threw the caution. But he was going, it just threw a caution anyways.
All right, well, we'll send you back down to your team. Good luck on trying to get to that Final Four transfer spot.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, so the 45 brought out the caution there. I'm looking, and I did see that he went off a track, but he did get the lucky dog, so that's kind of confusing because usually the guy that brings out the caution does not get the lucky dog, but being the only person to lap down, maybe that's why he got it. But that's going to reset the field for a restart here with about 28 laps to go when we go back green, 27 laps when we go back green. And Mr. Mike Miller in the 15 will be your leader coming to the line there. Jason Fenzer sitting in second. Jared Mogard in third, Jeff Noe fourth, Mike Carter fifth, Jamie Haynes sixth, Charles Mosey Jr. seventh, James Ledford eighth, Tyler Belanger ninth, Doug King 10th, Austin Greer 11th, and Adam Botten 12th tonight. Pace car should be ducking down pit road any second. There goes the pace car. Jason Fenzer and Mike Miller are going to lead him into the restart zone. Mike Miller on the gas pedal first and gets to the lead. It jumps to the point as they cross the finish line there with 27 laps to go as we go into turn 1. Jason Fenzer getting low, almost getting underneath the 15. 15 trying to get down to block the run by the 5, but the 5 has momentum on the bottom. 15 carrying the momentum on the top side. 5 going to have an advantage going into the next corner. Dives it low. Takes back the lead. Jared Mogard now working on the bottom of the 15 as well. Jamie Haynes underneath the 55. 55 nowhere to go with the speed that he was carrying there. Almost ran into the 15. Jamie Haynes going to take over the 4 spot with Jeff Noe right there to his outside. Jeff Noe going to look to the inside now of the 53, trying to do the crossover on Jamie. Can't get to the back bumper. Jamie gets loose though, and Jeff goes right around to the outside. Going to contend for the 4 spot. Jamie's still on the bottom side. Jeff Noe side by side. These two are battling for the final 4 transfer spot. Will we see bumping and banging? Jeff No and Jamie Haynes going in, and Jeff gets turned a little bit by Jamie. Spins him out and goes around in turn 2. Jeff No going to be sitting in turn 2 with a caution coming out. And I don't know if that's because Jeff blinked, but I know he blinked right as they went into the corner, and when he blinked back in, Jeff was sideways. Some major damage down to the side of the 55. He's probably going to have to bring that down pit road. .24 laps to go in this playoff race. Jason Fenzer out front with Jared Mogard to the back of him in second. Mike Miller in third. James Ledford fourth. Mike Carter fifth. Charles Mosey Jr. sixth. Jamie Haynes seventh. Tyler Belanger eighth. Austin Greer ninth. Jeff No 10th. And Doug King 11th. Looked like some drivers came down pit road there, and most of the top drivers came down besides Jason Fenzer, Jamie Haynes, James Ledford, and Mike Carter in the 2. So from 5th on back will be fresh tires. Jeff Doe down pit road trying to get some damage fixed to his truck. Uses that fast repair, comes back out on the track, but he's going to be scored back in the back half of the top 15. Not sure about the strategy call for these guys. I know they are only on their tires for about 8 laps, but you're going to have a lot of guys with fresh tires sitting from 5th on back. That's a dangerous theory there, but if another caution comes out, I mean, yeah, they can come down and grab some fresh tires and things like that to where they're on the advantage, but if a caution does not come out and this thing goes green for the next 22 laps, or 21 laps by the time we go back green, this could be an odd one. Jason Fenzer and Jamie Haynes going to line up on the front row, with second row being Michael Carter and James Ledford. Third row, Mike Miller and Jared Mogard. Fourth row, Austin Greer, Charles Mosley. Fifth row, Jeff No and Doug King. Pace car is going to duck on down pit road here, and we'll go back green once they get to the restart zone. Jamie Haynes and Jason Fenzer will be our leaders. Jason Fenzer with a jump on the outside in the restart zone, leaving Jamie Haynes in the dust. Mike Carter with a great jump on the outside as well behind Jason Fenzer. Pay attention to the 00 and the 15, as those guys are the freshest tires back here in 4th and 5th. James Ledford getting a little loose coming off of turn 2, opens the door for Jared Mogard and Mike Miller to split him. Both successfully move to the next position. Now set their sights on Mike Carter in the 2. Mike Miller trying to carry the speed on the outside. Jared Mogard trying to shorten the track on the bottom. Jason Fenzer, though, enjoying what he's seeing in his rearview mirror as he's stretching his lead out to about a second right now over Jamie Haynes. Jamie Haynes is going to be under fire here shortly once Jared Mogard and the 15 gets to battling with the 2. We'll see if Jamie can pull away from that group and make them run him back down. Jeff No is on a mission, though, right now, coming from 11th to 8th right now, jumping up into the top 8, and has some positions to gain if he can get to Jamie. We'll see if any kind of payback comes there. Mogard up to the 2 truck and underneath Mike Carter right now for 3rd place. Jared running on the bottom on those fresh tires. Should be able to complete that pass out of turn 4 as they go across the start-finish line. Takes over the 3rd spot from Mike Carter. Jeff No underneath James Ledford back there for 7th position or 6th position. Now with 17 laps to go, Jason Fenzer out front right now by about a second, a little over a second. Jamie Haynes sitting in second, 1.3 seconds back from the leader. Jared Mogard right on the back bumper of the 53 truck of Jamie Haynes for 2nd place. Jared going to look low going into turn 3 and 4, trying to make the pass on Jamie. Mike Carter sitting there watching these two battle it out. He is on a little older tires just like Jamie and Jason are. Jared on the fresh tires trying to get to Jamie. Jamie able to carry the speed on the outside to keep that pass from happening. Jared going to reset and try again. Jared now going to try to the outside of the 53. Gets to the outside of the 53 as they go into turn 1 and 2. Jamie moves up just a little bit to move Jared off of his line, but Jared coming around on the high side with a lot of momentum carrying on that top line. Can he complete the pass coming out of turn 2? Down the backstretch they go as Jared is battling with a 53. Jared Mogard claiming the 2nd spot in the race right now, and now going to set his sights on the 5 truck of Jason Fenzer as he cleared the 53 there. 15 truck of Mike Miller battling back here for 4th with Charles Mosey Jr. trying to get to him, sitting in 6th with Jeff No riding in 7th right behind this grouping. Coming to 12 to go as Jason Fenzer comes off of turn 4. Jared Mogard sitting 2nd, Jamie Haynes 3rd, Mike Carter 4th, Mike Miller 5th, Charles Mosey Jr. 6th, Jeff No 7th, Austin Greer 8th, Tyler Belanger 9th, and James Ledford rounding out the top 10 for this playoff race number 4 at New Hampshire in AER. Jason Fenzer with about a 2-second lead over 2nd place of the 00 of Jared Mogard. Jamie Haynes sitting in 3rd right now, about 3.5 seconds back from Jason Fenzer. But Jamie's biggest concern is trying to figure out where Jeff No is so that he can make sure that he gets into the Final Four transfer spot. Jeff No currently riding back in 7th, stuck behind the 89 of Charles Mosey Jr. and the 15 of Mike Miller. Jeff No on a little fresher tires, but can't get by these guys. Ten to go now in the race. Jason Fenzer continuing to lead this race with 9 laps to go in the race. Jason Fenzer has led a boatload of laps tonight and was our pole sitter for this race. Jared Mogart sitting back in second, currently second or third in the point standings going into the Final Four race if he can finish out this race. Jamie Haynes sitting in third, looking for another top 3 finish of the season. Mike Carter in 4th, Charles Mosey Jr. 5th, Mike Miller 6th, Austin Greer 7th, and Jeff Noe slipping to 8th spot now. Jason Fenzer's continuing to lead with 7 laps to go. We're watching the battle back here for 6th, 7th, and 8th. Mike Carter in 4th up there with Charles Mosey Jr. chasing him. Austin Greer sitting in 6th. Mike Miller now moving into 6th as he's on the outside of the 45. Jeff Noe watching his playoff hopes kind of fizzle here as he's following these two side by side. Needs to pass all 3 of them. Mike Miller gets into the wall. Jeff Noe looking underneath him now as he bumps the 15. 3 wide coming out of turn 4. Jeff Noe looking for a 2-for-1 situation with Charles Mosey Jr. and Mike Miller gets 2 positions there. Jamie Haynes slipping back into the clutches of Mike Carter and Austin Greer. It only helps Jeff Noe even more. Jason Fenzer and Jared Mogart have stretched their leads out to a big number here, about 3.5 seconds, 4 seconds over the rest of the field. Jeff Noe going to look low underneath Mike Carter. Austin Greer giving a little bump, so Jamie Haynes going to look underneath him. That's going to move Jamie back to 1 position if Austin can complete the pass. If Jeff can complete the pass on Mike Carter, that puts Jeff Noe and Jamie Haynes within 1 point of each other for the Final Four transfer spot. Jeff completes the pass on Mike Carter. Austin Greer still working on the 53. Got 3 laps to go as Jason Fenzer continues to lead this race. We're watching this battle back here for the Final Four championship spot, as it is a heavy battle right now between the 55 and 53. 1 point separating the Final Four transfer spot. Right now, Nick Gowan will move on. Jason Fenzer will move on. Jared Mogart will move on. Who will move on for the Final Four's transfer spot as we continue to watch this battle heat up as the 45 of Austin Greer is working on that 53 as much as possible. And Jeff Noe is sitting back here just lurking. We'll go up to the leader to watch the final 2 laps here. Jason Fenzer out front as he's been most of the night on the white flag lap. Coming out of turn 2, Jason coming down the backstretch looking for his 5th win of the season. Back-to-back wins for Jason Fenzer. If he can complete this off for playoff race number 4, big run for him to go into the championship 4 on back-to-back victories. Comes off of turn 4 on the white flag lap, checker flag in the air. 5 of Jason Fenzer will win tonight's playoff race number 4 at New Hampshire. Going back to the next grouping, Jamie Haynes underneath. Loses a spot to Austin Greer. Jeff Noe finishes 1 spot behind Jamie Haynes. And I do believe that puts Jeff Noe into the final transfer spot. Jamie Haynes going to miss out on the Final Four championship spot by 1 point to the 55 of Jeff Noe. Top 3 finish for Austin Greer. A big night for Austin Greer. Huge heart by this kid. Coming all the way back from 1 lap down from the start of the race. And to come back for the final or playoff race number 4 with a for the top 3 finish if he had not had a bad week last week, he would be probably moving on. 88 of Tyler Belanger, not happy with the 45 apparently. Jason Fenzer going to be our winner tonight. Doing our burnout. We'll be right back after this burnout by Jason Fenzer. All right, we're back here for American Elite Racing. Playoff race number 4 is now in the books at New Hampshire. Final race to decide the Final Four in next week's race. And tonight's winner is the 5 truck, our pole sitter, Jason Fenzer, with his 5th win of the season. Jason, you came out here, you got the pole. This is back-to-back wins for you, big playoff run for you into the Final Four championship with a giant momentum swing to your side with back-to-back races. We've seen multiple back-to-back races this season. 3 by Jared Mogard with back-to-back-to-back. Nick Gowan had a back-to-back-to-back. I think you had a back-to-back earlier in the season. Now you have another back-to-back in the playoff run with 1 race to go. Does this give you a huge momentum boost into the Final Four with next week's race at Vegas?
Well, yeah, of course it does. But it's going to take a back-to-back to win the championship. You know, like I said last week, Jared and Nick, they make you elevate your game, and not just on race pace, but strategy, just everything. You got to stay on top of your game to be able to beat them. So it should be a good one. We had a good night tonight. Kind of had to change up a little bit of a strategy there. I thought that Jared gained a little too much time when he short pitted there, so I figured I better pit when he did on the second run just to kind of keep it even. So it worked out.
Well, that it definitely did. You came out last week at Lucas Oil and was very fast at a short track. This week now another short track. Next week not going to be a short track. So what can we expect next week for you as a driving style going to those typical D-shaped draft heavy kind of tracks?
Just make sure we have the pace. It is a draft track, so you're not going to be able to get away per se. There's still a little bit of strategy involved in it, and that's the other thing too. You got to remember, if we have green flag pit stops, what your strategy is going to be. That could be the difference in a championship. So we'll just go to work, make sure we got the pace, and however the cards fall is how they fall, and really the best man will win. It's going to be a heck of a race, I think.
What's it going to mean to you to grab that championship in the final season of AER? You've been in the top three all season in the points. You, Jared, and Nick have the most wins of three drivers. Um, I would think it would mean a lot to the three of you with being up front, but obviously it could mean a lot to the fourth place person or the fourth driver to get in. But what's it going to mean to you to cap off this season with a championship in the final season of AER Truck Series?
That'll be a big deal, not just because it is the final season for this league and this series, which has been a great series, but you're beating really good guys. Like I said, week in week out, those guys make you stay on top of your game, and so you kind of put a feather in your cap. So whoever the champion is, they darn well are going to earn it, and hopefully it will be us. But we'll see what happens. I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen in that last race. All you can do is go in and be prepared, have the speed, have the pace, and just do your deal and see how it ends up.
Well, it was a great race by you tonight, capping off your fifth win of the season and a big one back to back, headed into the championship race next week with a huge momentum shift to your side. You moved up in a second in the points with Nick missing tonight. I think you finish out the playoffs in number one spot going into that championship four. So it really doesn't matter, but it's a little bit of a tip to or you can shrug your shoulders just a little bit and say, I was leading the points going into the Final Four, but I know coming away with that championship is going to mean the most. Any big shout outs for you?
Yeah, just shout out to David's Racing Products, Fat Mike's Pizza, Pencil Racing Enterprises, all the friends and family tuning in. Everybody in the league, appreciate the league, and it's kind of sad to see next week will be the last race in it, but it's been a lot of fun. Congrats to Jared on a second place, and thank you for everything you do on the broadcast.
Well, we definitely appreciate the show you guys put on week in and week out. But that is going to be our winner tonight in the 5 truck. Jason Fensler capping off his 5th win of the season and checks his ticket to go into the Final Four next week. Bringing up second place finisher Jared Mogard, who also caps his spot into the Final Four. Jared, this race was kind of weird. I was kind of confused on what some of the pit strategy was. You came in about 15 laps before Jason decided to finally pit on lap 54. And I kind of thought maybe that meant that there was going to be a one-stop pit stop, but then Jason threw me off with pitting about 12 laps later, and you pit as well. Did this thing come about as far as pit strategy, or was there just no running down Jason tonight?
A little bit of both. It looked like we were going to be about 2.5 laps short of making it to halfway to do one stop. So I had good pace with him for about 25, 30 laps or so, about 25 laps. And then he started pulling me a little bit more and more and more and more. And so I just decided to try the two-stop race. And it's typically a strategy I don't run a lot. Just because it seems like when I do it, the yellow comes out and I get trapped. So, but it was honestly this race for me. It was just get through it. It's kind of a little under the weather. Not a big fan of the track, so just wanted to run the laps and get it over with. So we tried the two-stop deal and thought maybe we would luck out there if it went flag to flag. And then, like Jason said, when he short pitted there that second time right after I did. At about lap 70, 75, I knew it was pretty much over. I wasn't going to run him down then. But, yeah, overall, it was a good race.
We head into the championship 4 next week at Las Vegas. You had a bunch of wins early on in the season and then kind of filtered off there with Jason Fensler and Nick Gowan winning a bunch of races and then a couple one-offs with the Talladega race and Tyler Belanger winning it. I believe it was Richmond or Martinsville, and Mr. Kool-Aid winning at Atlanta. So what is it going to take to get you back into the groove? I know you said you were kind of just pacing yourself to get to the end of the regular season, to get to the playoffs, and then getting through the playoffs. You haven't been at the top. You've been second 2 weeks in a row now, to where you're third in the points, and I think you might move into second based on Nick not being here tonight, but that really doesn't matter, like I told Jason, with it being the Final Four race next week. It really just matters what you do next week. The whole season you could have been first in the points like Nick was, and you might not even win the championship. So just going into next week's race, how do you get back into that mindset of, the killer instinct of going for back-to-back-to-back wins like you did earlier in the season? We haven't really seen you at the top winning a lot of races since then.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a good question. I mean, Jason also hit it on the head, though. I mean, us three, we elevate our game. It seems like every week. So you got to be spot on perfect and hope a yellow doesn't come out and hope your strategy works out too. So there's a little bit of luck involved with it, but you definitely have to be on your game. I'm hoping um, that it's kind of like the beginning of the playoffs. I mentioned earlier in the year, just kind of pace myself to get to the playoffs, and then when the playoffs start, kind of pick it up again, which we did to start the playoffs, and then it kind of pace yourself just to get to this point to be able to run next week for a title. So hopefully that swagger, confidence, whatever you want to call it, comes back next week, and we have a good run. I mean, we've had speed. I mean, we've been in the top three, right? So it's not like we're hitting the panic button or anything. It's just you, like Jason said, you got to be on your game week in and week out with Jason and Nick, and that's just how it goes. We'll see how it goes. The drafting track too. Not really fond of it either. It's really hard to pass, pack racing, tire management, um, all that good stuff. So we'll see. Hopefully it works out.
Well, I'm going to show my age just a little bit because you sound a lot younger than I am, but go back and maybe this week and pull up a movie on Netflix or Amazon or whatever streaming service you use. Find a movie called Over the Top with Sylvester Stallone and rewatch that thing and figure out how to turn the switch back on to get to that Final Four championship run and go for the championship trophy.
Yeah, big moments or big races, if you want to call it that, which I would consider next week a big race. Racing for a championship. Usually, I tend to show up and contend for the win and be fairly dominant. So, you know, don't want to look too far ahead of it, but if history kind of repeats itself, I think we'll be all right.
All right, well, that's our second place finisher. Jared, you got any shout outs?
Yeah, I got to thank TDS Internet, iBuy Power Computers, Asus Monitors, Twitchy Race Reports, Jamie and everybody for putting on this deal. Jason touched on it. Sad to see that next week is the final race with these guys. It's a good group of guys, good hard clean racing. Not really a lot of yellows and just overall a really well ran league. So sad to see him go, but sometimes life happens and you got to make them decisions. So hopefully we can put on a good show for them to go out with a bang next week. And as always, thank you for doing the broadcast.
Like I said, we appreciate the show you guys are putting on week in and week out, and we'll see what happens next week at Las Vegas as you four will be running for the championship. All right, we're going to bring up third place finisher, and that is Austin Greer in the 45. Austin had a I don't even know if I want to call it a roller coaster run here throughout this race. Austin, you had a very bad first 5 laps. You had a bad week last week. You were only still 9 points back from the transfer spot. You were a lap down for essentially what felt like 90 laps of this race. You finally got your lap back and were able to get through some of the field and get up here to the top 3 finish. I gotta praise you and tell you that that's a show of extreme heart and want to get to a win or a top 3 finish or to try to get into the final 4 because you still had a shot if Jamie or Jeff or even Jared would have faltered tonight. You still had a shot to make it into that final 4, and you did everything in my opinion to do that. So really happy to see that. I'm sure your dad out there, Mr. JF Greer 63 in my chat, is very proud of you, but just give us a walkthrough of what happened from start to finish of this race, as it just seemed like you went from a top tier spot to the very low, and then right back to the top at the end of the race.
Yeah, so coming into this race, I knew right away from last week that really my only shot was finishing right up there up front. So first 5 laps, I apologize to Tyler. I must have gotten to him. I'm gonna look at it after this. I didn't see it. I saw some things blink, so my bad, Tyler. Didn't mean to do that. But with that coming out, I knew I had to pit right away, went a lap down, and I was thankful I only went a lap down and not more than 1 lap down. And I was just trying different strategies, trying to stretch my fuel as long as I can to hope for a caution to come out. Didn't quite come out how I wanted it to, and then some more laps later, I accidentally spun off of 2. It was just trying to really push my truck to the edge, and didn't mean to cause a caution there, but caution came out. I had to stay out if I wanted at all to stay on the lead lap. And yeah, then the next caution came out, got tires, and somehow I drove all the way up to third. I don't know how I did that.
Well, it was definitely a feat from what I was seeing on track because a lot of guys were fast. There was only 12 guys on the field, but with Adam being out of the race, it actually dropped it to 11. And like you said, with the cautions, the way they fell, it just happened perfectly to where you could get back in the lead lap and then obviously be able to pit shortly after that without going a lap down. But to come all the way back through the field and get a top three, I mean, you battled with Jamie and a bunch of others pretty hard. I mean, for the longest run there, when you were one lap down, you were battling for third spot or with the third position for pretty much the entire run. So you clearly had a fast truck. It just, what happened on lap 1 or 2 definitely didn't help. And then was spinning around there. I was surprised. I talked to Jamie about it, and we were both kind of confused on why the caution did come out. It looked like you had spun, went into the grass, and then when you came back up on the pavement, you were moving. It just, for some reason, iRacing through the caution, one of them weird phantom iRacing cautions, but definitely worked out for you in the end because you were able to get your lap back, and then another caution came out, and you were able to work your way up through the field on fresh tires and fuel. So just a great race by you, a great season by you, another top three finish. I think this is your third one this season, so I'm sure your dad's out there proud. He was in the chat saying great job, or he wrote saying great racing, son. So I'm sure he's happy about it. I'm sure you're happy about coming back through. It shows a lot of grit, shows a lot of heart for finishing the races. And last week with, everything that happened in lap 1 or 2, and for you to stay out the entire race to try to make up a few points, and it definitely helped you stay close. You just needed a few things happen tonight, and you probably would have got it. So, but you still got a chance next week at Las Vegas to come out and get that first one of the season. I think you'll be, a contender as always, and we'll see what happens there. But any big shout outs for you or anything like that?
Yeah, I'll shout out my dad. He's watched pretty much every single one of these races. This race 19, I'm sure he'll watch next week's. Shout out to him, my stepmom, they watch every week, and then everybody else who's watching out there. All the drivers, it's really fun, clean racing, like the other two have said, and the broadcasters, admins. This league has really been one of my favorites I've ever ran.
Well, I definitely can't agree more there. It's an awesome league. I've really been happy to be a part of it. You guys on track have put on a show week in and week out. Even with some bad races or bad tracks, you guys still show up. And I really appreciate the 12 of you guys that showed up tonight to put on a show. I know we started the season with somewhere around 30, and I know the way it goes with iRacers, the later it gets in a season, when they start to realize they're not going to make the playoffs or they're not going to make the championship 4 or whatever, they stop showing up. But I wish they would finish out a season, but it really shows the attrition for you guys for showing up week in and week out and doing what you guys do. So appreciate it, and I appreciate Jamie and Charles and the other owner admins that have put in a ton of work this season, and definitely sad to see it go.
Absolutely.
So we'll see what happens next week at Las Vegas. But it's going to be a great finale. Final Four is concluded as Jason Fensler, Jared Mogard, Jeff No, and Nick Gowan will go for the Final Four championship. If my points are correct, if I'm not, then it's Jamie Haynes instead of Jeff No. But Jeff No said he just needed to finish one position behind Jamie tonight, and he did. So I'm assuming that means he's in. But we'll see the point standings when they come out here this week, and we'll officially talk to the Final Four next week before the championship race, and we'll come back tomorrow night for Velocity Motorsports in the Next Gen Series, and then I'll be back Thursday night as well with repeat over on iRock TV for the Spartan Challenge Series, and we'll come back to Crown a Champion next Monday here in AER for the final race of the league. So definitely come out, tune in for that race. It's going to be a great race to kind of a send-off for the league. Definitely appreciate everybody for being out there in the chat and viewing and doing everything everybody does every week to show up and listen to me talk for 2 hours. So we'll catch you guys later, and we'll be back next week.